Hi friends, Ewelina here. Welcome to the Homecomings podcast, an Audible initiative sharing vulnerable conversations with purpose-driven creatives on their life journeys, all with the intention to inspire people listening to discover the meaning of home in their own lives and come deeper back to their truest versions of self. We use home as a metaphor to represent all that beckons comfort, familiarity, and belonging for your unique life journey. Whether that's through the work that you do, the people you surround yourself with, or the things that bring you the most joy in life. Because to live a life with more home means to live a more mindful and beautiful life. And isn't that the greatest intention for us all? I'm so glad you're here. Welcome. Hello, friends. Happy Tuesday. I'm so excited to be sharing today's episode with my dear guest, Sam Altieri. Sam is a life coach and a female business empowerment mentor. She is someone who has become such a near and dear friend to me and in my life. It is so wild. Before we jump into the episode, I just wanted to share a little bit of context on Sam and just our connection and maybe speak to the concept of divine timing a little bit, because the way Sam and I came to meet, I think had to happen at the moment it happened, because if it happened at any other time, I truly don't believe it would have worked out. And just wild how there's so many coincidences and serendipitous little clues we can say that God plants for us. And then when the pieces in the puzzle finally come into place and you kind of look back in hindsight, you realize like, oh, the signs were there all along. So Sam and I actually went to college together. She was 2 years or 2 grades above me. And I had always known about her. We never talked. I don't think she knew who I was or remembered me, maybe faintly, but I very distinctly knew who she was because she had a presence. Even back then, when Sam was not pursuing the work that she does today, and has also been through her own personal development journey and has stepped into more of her authentic power and expression, we could say, she still always stood out for me as someone who was very outspoken, very bold. I always saw her chatting with professors. She was on the college publication team, we want to call it. There was like a beautiful architecture newspaper that was being published, and she was spearheading that and part of the team and all these things. Like I just always heard of and knew of Sam. And I guess that is when the initial seeds for my impression of her were planted. I saw her already back then as someone that was just a boss ass bitch. And that was just confirmed even deeper as I got to know her years later. The way that we had gotten connected is so funny. It was through a mutual friend, Caroline, who I had met just a few years ago through a personal development, we can call it manifestation group that I joined in a really rock bottom moment of my life. I had just gotten out of a 6-year relationship. I had no idea what was happening in my life, where I was heading. I was under the impression that I have to get married and I have to settle down and this is my path. And after that relationship ended, I felt the most lost I have ever felt in my entire life. And on a whim, I don't even want to say on a whim, I was definitely called to just peek into this manifestation program that I had heard time and time again on podcasts, but there was something in that particular rock bottom moment of my life where I was like, no, I need to dive into this now. And what ended up unfolding from that was so many beautiful connections with like-minded women. I was living in Boston at the time and we were doing in-person meetups. This was, I want to say, a year or two prior to COVID. So like in-person interactions were still a thing before digital Zoom meetings were happening. So it was a beautiful opportunity to connect with a lot of like-minded women. And that is how I met Caroline, who has become a dear soul sister. And one thing leads to another. Here, Caroline and I are a year later. We're grabbing a drink at our local bar because we had just started our businesses. And so timeline-wise, this was winter of 2021, beginning of the year 2021. And Caroline asked me, she's like, oh, do you know Sam Altieri? I'm like, yeah, I do. She's like, I think you guys went to the same college together. I'm like, yes, how do you know her? She's like, oh, she's actually my client. I was like, oh my God, what a small freaking world. Like here I am meeting this woman, Caroline, very randomly. I had never known her before. And she happens to have this mutual connection in common. It was just so random. We can call it random, but really it was very intentional because months later, I want to say it was September of 2021, so almost 2 years ago, Caroline texts me and says, "Hey, Sam is hosting a retreat in Sedona and there's 2 spots left. Do you want to go?" And it was an immediate, like, hell freaking yes. I didn't know any of the details about this retreat. I didn't even know Sam. I had never spoken to her, but again, I just always knew of her. I had this impression of her. I had been following her on social media after Caroline mentioned her to me. And she was doing all this empowering coaching and all these magical things. And I'm like, yes, I actually would love to go. And I texted my cousin and we grabbed the last 2 slots. And what ended up unfolding from that retreat was probably, I mean, definitely to date, one of the most transformational experiences I've ever had. For anyone who's never done a retreat, I can't recommend it enough. There is something so magical and powerful about being in a community in person, in a safe space by someone who is facilitating so much intentional, loving, mindful workshops and exercises and activities to for you to come to know yourself deeper, and secondly to connect with other like-minded people. So I left that retreat completely transformed. I got a chance to connect with Sam deeper. I ended up doing her retreat next year with my friend Caroline as well, and we just stayed in touch over time. And I think it was, let's see, the summer of last year, there was this beautiful exchange that occurred where we had been chatting for a bit. I was going through another very hard rock bottom moment in my life last summer, and I felt like I needed extra support, someone to just guide me and navigate all the feelings I was going through in my life personally. And I took Sam up on some coaching. And what was really beautiful was she also, at the same time, and here's this whole concept of divine timing coming back around, was also seeking support for someone to guide her and or help her really support her with clarity and design for her online digital membership course that she was launching called Conscious Creators. And of course, serendipitously, kismetly, whatever you want to call it, we ended up partnering together and exchanging service for service. And it was just truly, the way that it unfolded was exactly how it was meant to be, because Sam helped me work through a lot of personal things in my life that I was navigating at the time. And I supported her with crafting a really beautiful brand identity for her digital membership platform, Conscious Creators. So since then, Sam and I have just grown. We're no longer, working together in a coaching container, but I think our relationship has transitioned into deep, deep friendship. And she's someone who I hold so near and dear to my heart. And this conversation we had was just, badass is always the word I want to use to describe Sam, because Sam is someone who does not hold back. She lets her light shine, and it's so inspiring. And just back to the topic of divine timing again, when I mentioned at the top of this introduction, how I don't know if I would have been able to meet Sam or connect with her, I guess, on this level any other time up until now. I think there's something to be said about that, because the version of myself that I was, we can call it, years ago would not have been ready for the energy of Sam. There's been a lot that I've dove into on a personal level with personal development, looking at myself, working on myself, for lack of a better expression, and just coming to really know myself deeper. What does that mean? It's shedding all the labels and the ideas of what I should be. It's like we can call, healing, in air quotes, those little patterns that keep coming up that I, for most of my life, maybe was unconscious to. For example, people pleasing, not knowing my boundaries, all the things. And so I think, when Sam had come into my life, I truly, truly believe it was perfect timing, in that we were both ready to receive each other's energies, for lack of a better expression. Not to sound super woo-woo, but there is this whole concept of you attracting people into your life based on where you are at. So if you are navigating, so much victimhood and just distress, and you can't see past your predicament, you're going to notice that you're attracting people of similar frequencies and calibers into your life. Whereas if you start lifting the veil, for lack of a better expression, and becoming more aware and open minded, you're going to see the people that come into your life look a little differently and match your energy and your frequency. And you can even do this exercise for yourself. You could think back to where you were years ago and the type of people you were interacting with. Friendships come and go, relationships change. Think back to, maybe if you ever navigated a really difficult personal relationship, whether it was intimate or with friends or even with coworkers or your boss in business. Think about how much you've up leveled and changed. We're human, we're never stagnant and staying the same. So we're always constantly evolving. And as we evolve, we're attracting people of a higher caliber into our lives. And so I truly believe Sam came into my life after me just looking deeper at my shit. And I think she came into my life to help me further look even deeper into all of that. And yeah, just align me deeper on my purpose, truly. And I'm so, so, so grateful for our interaction and relationship over these years. And I'm especially excited to share this conversation. We talk all things her business journey, how she jumped into the architecture industry but was so unfulfilled and ended up changing paths. So there was a lot of relatability for me because I also am no longer doing architecture. So she shares her story there. We talk all things fear, standing in your authentic expression, why investing in mentors is such a powerful thing. And lastly, we dive into her online membership platform, Conscious Creators, the humble beginnings and the growth, and also the process of branding and bringing it to life. And as of the recording of this introduction, and the episode launching, which is mid October, Sam has actually opted to close Conscious Creators. It was a beautiful journey and a ride for the last 2 years, and I'm so grateful to have been a part of it. But Sam is on to different and just as amazing and empowering projects. So be sure to give her a follow at Sam Altieri on Instagram. She's sharing all the most inspiring, amazing content. And without further ado, please tune into this episode with Sam. I'm so excited to share, guys. Okay, so let's jump in. And I figure a great place to start because you've had such an incredible journey all throughout life, but I think especially in the last few years, tell us about your story to whatever context you feel is right. Your journey to get basically that you've navigated to get to where you are today.
Yeah. Well, I'll give the spark somewhere between the spark notes and the full version because we could totally be here for like hours. But
Yes, for sure.
what I'll say is I think growing up as a trend, growing up, middle school, high school, college, I was always doing what everyone told me I should be doing,
Mhm.
and I was living a life that was very much small, like it was I was doing the thing that good girls do, right? Like I was
Mhm.
doing the things, I was getting the perfect attendance, I was having the perfect body, like I was trying so hard to do and be what was, air quotes, like socially accepted. Going to college, like, oh gosh, now I have to meet somebody at 23 and get married to them and have a house and kids by the time I'm 30, like the whole thing. Um, but somewhere along the way, uh, it was like, what the fuck am I doing? Like wake up. And so we went to college together. So did my
Mhm.
undergrad, grad school in architecture, loved college because I was like such a high achiever, loved pouring myself into something that was so intense. So that was a great industry to be in. Um, and then basically got handed a job going after college. I didn't even have to apply. One of our professors from grad school was like, "Hey, I would love for you to work here." So I was like, "Hell yeah. I don't even have to apply. Like so easy. Let's do it." Right?
Mhm.
But I never fully checked in with myself. I just said yes. And I remember I took this summer off. I was like, yes, I would love to do this. And I want to take the summer off and travel. And so I did. I spent the whole summer just like fucking around, basically exploring, traveling, seeing the world, and spending a lot of time with friends. And then I remember this like looming feeling starting to come over me every single day that got closer to my start date of working at my 9 to 5. And I remember writing in my phone because I was like journaling in my phone at the time. And I was just like, I think I've made a big mistake, but I don't know what else to do, right? Because like,
Mm.
I didn't have any, expanders. I didn't have anyone that was, like, forging their own path. I didn't have anyone that was like, "Oh, you can just, like, do something else. Like, you can just, like, freelance or, do put all these side gigs together or be an entrepreneur," or, you know, I didn't know that. My dad is an entrepreneur, but it for me, like, watching him grow up, like, it was not freedom. It was like, you work more because you're an entrepreneur, and to me, that
Mm.
was never, like it was just never something I desired. So I discovered the book 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss, and this was in, like, 2013, 2014, and, I was like, "Oh my god, this is what I want. I want freedom, like, I wanna travel, I wanna be a nomad." And at the time, I had already done a good amount of travel. I studied abroad in college, and, I was like, "Wait, I gotta figure out how to make this happen." I just had no idea what it would be. I didn't know, you know? And so fast forward a few years of being in my 9 to 5, I was given a lot of responsibility. I was working 40 to 80-hour work weeks with a 40-hour salary, which is not much in architecture, and you're living in Boston. I was basically living paycheck to paycheck to build somebody else's dream, and at a certain point, I saw my boss on like, checking his email, and it was, like, 8 PM, and I was still in the office on a Wednesday, and I was like, "What am I doing? I
Mm.
don't even want what he's doing." Like, it sounds awful to do that, you know? And so I had this, like, kind of come to Jesus moment of, like, "Oh my god, like, I don't want this." Like, and, like, just this freak out moment, identity crisis of, like, I've just been living life according to everyone else's, like, what it is, just kind of on autopilot, just, like, monotonous. I wake up, I go to work, I come home, I do the same fucking thing every day. I'm like, "This is not living."
Yeah.
So, yeah, all that happened, and in 2016, I had the balls to leave my job, and I basically, um pieced together a bunch of design gigs. So I was doing like exhibition design, I was doing photography, I was helping this guy that I met design his book. So I was kind of like doing all of the design stuff, but not in a firm. And um, a few months later, the gym that I was working at asked me to become a personal trainer because I had been working on like my health and my fitness, and I got really into lifting weights. Well, the past 4 years have been me getting my personal training certification, getting my nutrition certification, falling in love with those modalities, discovering the online coaching industry, deciding to start an Instagram page, sharing everything I learned on the internet, building a following of like 60,000 people, starting a podcast, building a business. And um, yeah, the journey has literally brought me to here, which is now business mentorship and helping women build lives and businesses on their terms. Like, what is their like, fuck yes, this is like my most aligned hell yes life, and not what you should do. Like truly
Mm.
listening to your intuition and your body about like, this lights me up, and just like trusting that.
Yeah, yeah. Now, for every single one of those pivots and moments that you had for you to basically, I don't even know if I want to say it pivots because I guess after you left architecture, you've stayed within the realm of self-development and self-help and all of that. But anytime like a new opportunity came to you, whether it was the coaching, the business mentorship, how did you know to follow that?
Yeah. I think this has been like the journey of me just trusting my intuition. Like,
Mm.
I have always had a very strong intuition. Like, I've always known like something's off, or there's something there for me, or I need to meet this person, or I don't know. There's always it's just like this feeling, right? It's like this
Mm.
visceral, like pulling me towards something. It's kind of like
The
the Tim Ferriss
knowing.
book. Yeah, like I read the book and I was like, yes. And then I found online coaching. I can't even remember how. It was like I was in like Facebook groups and all that stuff. When you're in the beginning of like a new discipline, you're just like, I need to like be immersed with these people, right? And so I found like the online coaching industry, and I was like, wait, what? This is amazing. I can help people and get paid for it. And so it was like every time it wasn't a oh, I know this is going to be my next step. It was more like my body was like, oh, like I wanted to go there, you know? Like there was no like kind of pulling me back because I was so dead set on it. And I was like, I don't fucking know how it's going to work, but I'm just going. And so there's been a lot of trust of like, nope, this is it. Like, I'm just going with it. And it's
Mm,
obviously worked out in my favor.
yes, because it's gotten you here, and here is like a really good place to be.
It is. I'm very
Yeah.
grateful. I'm very fucking grateful I put in the work and trusted my gut.
Yes, yes. What would you say have been the most impactful parts of your journey, if you could pinpoint like any
Mm,
pieces of them that have been like just monumental to helping you get to where you are today? Because when we met in person a couple weeks ago for our lovely little weekend
mhm,
gathering, um, it was so fascinating to talk with you. And I had asked you questions that I didn't even know about your journey, about like, what did you do when you were like in the fitness space and what did that look like? And you were telling me about how, for example, you had gotten into sales for the first time, just being a personal trainer, and how now doing what you're doing, sales and marketing is like, I mean, it's huge for your business. So that's just one example that I feel like could be, just something that
mhm.
I could see for you being like so powerful. But are there any other parts or pieces that you would say have been so big from your journey to date that you feel like have been just like necessary to have gotten you to what you're doing today?
Yeah, totally. Well, I think I'm really blessed to have come from like a fitness background because like growing up my whole life, like I did sports, I danced. I wasn't really that great at sports, to be honest. I was very athletic, but like I loved dancing. I needed to
Mm,
move my body. I had a lot of energy. Also, I had undiagnosed ADHD, so I was a very hyperactive child. And I think that if I hadn't found movement before I started my business, I don't know that I would have started my business because
mm,
I didn't set out to become an entrepreneur. It was never like, even though I wanted freedom and wanted to be a digital nomad and I didn't even know what that meant, I was never like, I'm going to start a business. I never said that. It was never something I even thought I wanted. It was just, I'm just going to like travel the world and see what happens, you know? And like, ultimately, that's brought me to entrepreneurship and now building a beautiful community. But like, it was kind of always like, the clarity that I've had has come from movement because I
mm,
do naturally go to my head, you know? I tend to be someone who overthinks, who overanalyzes, who over is overwhelmed. That's just a normal state of being for me. So without a movement practice to help me get out of that, I would just sit in my own shit, you know? Like if I didn't have the anchor of movement and of like journaling and, brain dumping everything that's in my head, like all these things, if I didn't have movement as an anchor, I don't think I would have moved forward because the gym, as you know, it's like you prove to yourself that you can do things that your mind tells you that it can't. But your body can hold the plank for another 10 seconds. It's your mind being like, you can't do this, like just give up, right? But your body
mm.
can keep going. Like it can. And it's like when the record for I forget what the race was, but like or it's for the marathon. When the record for the marathon was broken, then it kept getting broken because it showed potentiality for someone to be able to do that,
Yeah,
right? It's the same
yeah.
thing. Like, so for me, it was like I didn't have that strong of a mind. I got my body really fucking strong and realized how weak the mind is. And we can train the mind to be strong or stronger. So I feel like the gym and lifting weights and when I was like powerlifting and all of that, that showed me that I can do anything. There's nothing I can't do. Like, and I firmly believe that now. I'm like, oh, we're going to be a multiple 7, 8 figure company. I don't doubt that for
Mm.
1 second. I don't care how long it takes me. I mean, obviously I'm not trying to postpone it, but like that success is inevitable when I just keep doing what I'm doing, right? And so I think that's been a huge piece, fitness. Um, I also feel like uncovering and falling into like manifestation, like actually understanding the energetics of things. Like it's not just what you
Mm.
appear what appears is not always it. It's like the unseen is there's so much there around energy and worthiness and your belief system and realizing like we all just have a brain full of shitty beliefs from childhood that we have to change and shift in order to become our most empowered self, in order for us to let things be easy and fun, because most people are addicted to struggle, as was I. So,
Yep,
yeah.
guilty as well.
Yeah, yeah, because like that's how we're conditioned, right? You have to work hard for
Mhm.
your success. You have to, and I've never done that. Like,
Yeah.
that might be triggering to hear, but, like, I don't work hard for my success. I have fun and make a lot of money. Like, and I
Mhm.
swear, like, that is the hack. It's like when you realize you can have fun and do what you love and get paid for it, that's when you have figured out the game of life, you know? So I feel like
Mm.
uncovering that code. Um, and then the last thing I'll say is like community and like investing in masterminds. Masterminds have been hands down, if like I hadn't joined the first business mastermind for 20K that I did back in 2020, I think I had like $2,000 in my bank account and I was making probably like 5 to 8K in my business and I was like, fuck it, let's go. We are
Mhm.
going there. And I got myself into that room. I was the smallest fish. Everyone was making like way more money than me, way more money. They were having way bigger conversations and I was like, "Oh my god, I've been playing small." And it immediately made me feel bad about myself, obviously, because I was like comparing myself so hard. But then I was like, okay, Sam, that's not how we're going to use this space. You're going to use this space to level up and meet them, like rise to where they are. And that's what happened. At the end of the year, I was right alongside everyone else that was in there. And it was just this like deciding moment of like, the only way I'm gonna get there is by deciding to go there
Mm.
and putting myself
Mhm.
in the room, even if it's scary, knowing that, well, it's like I can either be scared and not take action, or I can be scared and take action. So I'm gonna take action.
Yeah.
And every other business masterminds I've joined, it's been the same experience of, oh my goodness, it's scary and I'm gonna do it anyways, right? Because like if you're not in the room, like it's so easy to get in your head and play small and not have the ideas and like I'm just held so much more accountable. I also like just need the external accountability for my brain
Yes.
because it's
Yes.
just all humans do really. It's so easy to break promises to yourself. So, yeah, I would say those are the big 3. The fitness, manifestation and like having expansive rooms.
Yeah. No, to the last piece you shared about the community, it's interesting because it sounds to me like there is a level of fear, maybe, that's required
Of
to a
course.
certain extent to dive into that opportunity because, I wonder, like, without that fear, is it complacency? Is that word that's coming to mind? Or like comfort, maybe, that we want to
Mhm.
say? Because if you're
Yeah,
not motivated by a little bit of that fear to push you, then are you gonna kind of move? Are you gonna grow? Are you gonna span? And I feel like in those moments where, you entered the containers and you were like you said, the smallest fish, that fear or insecure or whatever that it was that was driving you was actually like your superpower or fuel in a way to help you expand.
totally. Yeah,
Yeah.
because like we can't grow without stretching. We can't grow without
Mhm.
getting outside of our comfort zone, and getting outside of our comfort zone is uncomfortable. Of course it
Yeah.
is. But like that's where growth is. And everyone hears that and they're like, "Yeah, yeah." But it's like, "Yeah, and actually are you fucking doing it?" Like
Mhm.
there's a difference between the person that says, "Oh, like I'm getting outside my comfort zone," and the person that does it. And
Mhm.
it's like, are you brave enough? Are you courageous enough to do it? And my like mantra has always been like, follow the fear, follow the fear, follow the fear. And I mean, I'm doing it even still to this day. Like, just literally between the last time I saw you and right now, I just invested in my first one on one business mentor, like to a degree that I'm like, holy fucking shit. And it feels so good to have what I
Mhm.
want because I've
Mhm.
wanted this for so long. I just never let myself have it because of all the reasons we tell ourselves. I'm like, oh, I'm in a mastermind. Well, it's like, guess what? I'm in a mastermind. I have a one on one business mentor. I have a one on
Mhm.
one life mentor. I have a therapist. Like, I didn't get here alone.
Yeah.
And to really reach the level of success and impact, because like for me, I'm very impact and like service driven. For me to like reach that, it's going to be wildly impossible for me to do it, at least in this lifetime, you know?
Yeah. You need the support systems, and it sounds like you are supported by incredible humans at this point of your life.
Dude, I
Yes.
feel like God has brought me all of the people. Like I've been asking, like I'm like, okay, universe, like please just like give me all of the people I need to be able to like deliver my or like finish or not even finish, but do my assignment, you know,
Yes.
complete my mission.
Yes.
Send them to me, you know? And
Yes.
like it just one by one, either somebody recommended them to me or it was actually all through like people recommending the person, or it
Mm.
wasn't me going out and seeking. It was really like me asking the universe and then me getting delivered and just being like, oh my God,
You
this is
manifesting.
literally right.
Yes.
And like
You
not being afraid
manifesting.
to like yes, for sure, manifesting,
Yeah.
and, like, one of the women is a friend of mine, like, I've told you
Mhm.
this, she was a friend, and it was weird because I was like, "Is this weird to, like, wanna hire you?" But I was like, I saw the success she had, I saw who she was, I saw her heart, and I was like, "She's the person I wanna do life and business with."
Mm.
Like, and so, you know, like, I think also letting our egos down to be like, yeah, like I'm your friend and I'm not going to ask you business questions because that's completely overstepping boundaries. I'm going to pay to be there because I know that that's how I actually show up and do it, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and it's the same. Like a lot of my clients were friends first and then became clients, or were clients and then became friends. You know, it's like, or they go back and forth, like you and I, you
Right.
know?
Yes.
And it's like there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's beautiful when there's like the level of friendship and mentorship. Like it really makes such a well-rounded relationship.
Yes, for sure. And as you were speaking, I was thinking about how for that for me has also played out in my life. How I in a way manifested you at like the perfect time, starting with that Sedona retreat that we did over 2 years ago, and then just I mean our like friendship, but also relationship business wise growing to the point where then I was like, I need to work with Sam for deeper expansion. And you became my coach, and since then, we've kind of stopped the coaching, but now we're just growing on this friendship level. And it's so beautiful. But it was like you came into my life at the perfect time. I guess and when I'm thinking back, I'm like, was I even seeking a person like you? But I guess it just goes to show and say that sometimes the universe just gives you exactly what you need at all the right moments. And I will forever be grateful for our souls connecting for that reason,
Me
Sam.
too.
Ah.
Dude, me
Yes.
too. Me too. I
Yeah.
feel like, you know, the quote that's like everything you're seeking is also seeking you.
Yes, Rumi,
Um,
I love it.
yeah, it's so true. Like all you
Mhm.
have to do is ask the universe. You don't even have to do anything. This is the wildest thing. This is the fucking wildest thing. Just write it down. Write down what it is that you want and you will literally get it. Like write it down, forget about it, and then however many minutes, hours, days, months, weeks, whatever later, it's like, "This is how I manifested Kurt, my fiancé.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
how I've manifested these incredible clients and, like, women into my life." I'm like, I'm just writing it down, and I'm like, "Alright, now I'm just gonna show up and do my thing and not force or try so hard, but just trust that it's all working in perfect
Mhm.
timing."
Yeah, yeah. Now, curious, did you I mean, you mentioned that you never saw yourself essentially kind of being where you're at, being an entrepreneur, running the business, or at least like to this capacity that you're doing. But I wonder, if there's always been some piece of you that knew that you were kind of destined for more in a way, right? Because I feel like every step you've taken, whether it was with your fitness and getting into the coaching, there's that common thread of curiosity, if we want to call it that, that was pulling you, that in a way, and I'd be curious to know, like, if that feeling inside was like, okay, there's more for me. So like, what was that? Because I think a lot of people, at least in my life, or that I know, or maybe just can we say in general, because I feel like a lot of people living are
Yeah,
just kind of are selling themselves short, right? Like they feel like this is it, I'm settling.
yeah.
So what was that about you? And also, like, the second part to that question is, what do you say to the people that are kind of settling? Is there something that we could say?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think everyone like there's a thing that I used to use with my clients a lot. It's called the pillow test. And
Mm,
it's like when your head hits the pillow at night, what's on your mind? Because that'll tell you most things that you need to know, right? A lot of people
mm,
say they have sleep problems. It's like, no, you don't have sleep problems. You have unachieved dream problems. You have unactioned. You have things on your heart or that you want to say that you never did. You have anxiety. That's what you have. And anxiety is just you not taking action. Like that's what it is. And most people have a hard time sleeping at night because of all the voices in their head, right?
mm,
And so it's like if you're going to bed at night and you're like, "Damn, I really wish blank," or like, "I really want blah blah blah," or I hope that blank, like whatever it is, whatever the statement is that you feel like you go to bed and you can't stop thinking about, or the first thing you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, it's like that thing is the thing,
mm,
right? And the feeling of more, of course, we're all like wired to want more. That is a human condition, especially as women too. Women are pleasure driven and we have an unsatiable desire for more. All humans do, but you and I are women, so we can speak to this directly. But it's like
mm,
the second you get what you want, it's not enough because you want more, you know?
mm.
It's like the second you have um the second you have like the first date with someone, you're like, okay, when's the next date? You know?
Yes,
And then you're like,
yes.
when's the next date? And then you're like, when are we having sex? Okay, when are we sharing our deepest, darkest intimacy? Like, when are we moving in? When are we getting married? When are we? It's like, oh, we just want more. And that will never go away. It's just most people are trained to deny themselves of that desire for more because they think it's wrong or they think that it makes them a bad person for wanting more. Oh, like no, like I'm good. Like I'm doing just I'm okay. I'm fine. Like, everything's good. It's like there's this part of them that feels bad about taking more because they think that by taking more it's going to leave somebody else with less. But,
Mm,
like, we live in a world of abundance, and it's like, you taking more does not ruin somebody else's day at all. It gives them more permission to have more, right? And so, I feel like a lot of my clients and just naturally the work I do is, like, permission slip writing. It's like, "No,
mhm.
you can have more. No, you can have the dream relationship, the dream business, the dream life, the dream body, the dream whatever it is. You don't have to just choose one. You don't
Yeah.
have to settle for mediocre." And I think that this is where like expanders comes in, where you're exposed to somebody who shows you that there's a way to be or there's a way of living that exists that you can also have and you can't stop fucking thinking about it because you're like, "Oh my god, it feels so amazing.
Yeah.
What?"
Yeah.
Right? Like, that life is possible? Holy what? And sometimes we don't even realize we're settling until we have those people. And,
Mhm.
yeah, so yeah, everyone like, basically, it's the knowing that there's always more available and that your desires are not wrong, and you just have to find the people like me, like you, whatever, that are gonna show you what's possible
Yeah.
because that's really my only mission on life and on earth is, like, to show people what's possible. Like, just
Yeah.
like, "Guys, it's really not that hard. All you have to do is just commit to getting yourself in the room and I will teach you. Like, that's
Mm.
it. Follow me, consume my content. I give so much away for free. Like, if you wanna join my paid stuff, do it. The closer you get to me, the faster things will change for you." And
Mm.
it's not just a, like, "Pay to be in my energy." It's like, no, like, there's a like, yes, and there's, like, a standard. There's a new standard of living and what you're available for and who you allow yourself to spend time with and what you allow yourself to think, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen, would you say there's like, because you've worked with so many women and so many people and have had conversations, would you say there's like a common thread or like if you could distill one big block that people have that you meet, like that you're talking
Mhm.
with, that prevents them from maybe taking the next step? What would that be? Is it fear? Is it trauma? Is it a combination? Like, is there one thing? Is it a mix of things? Are people just getting in their own way?
Yeah. Totally. So most of the women I work with are high achievers for sure,
Mm,
overachievers mostly.
mhm,
And they just get in their own way so hard because I actually just I'm going to make this a reel. I had this idea after a client call yesterday. This is the ultimate situation, right? Most women are burnt out. Why? This is the cocktail of burnout, okay? One part of people pleasing, one part of overachieving, and one part low self worth.
mm.
That is the
Boom.
ultimate recipe to not be happy, to not have what you want, to people please, to overachieve, and to have low self worth and to just prove yourself or try to get the validation and, which was me. It's like that was literally me
Mhm.
in a nutshell because, and you could say all these patterns develop from childhood. So if we're talking about the root, sure, trauma, parents, conditioning, up the generational line of, just not healing, right? Not feeling whole and complete because somewhere along the way we've been taught that we're broken and not enough and all this. And it's like, no, the truth is you are enough right now. You are worthy right now. You are deserving right now. And the sooner you really embody that and know that and feel that, the easier it is to have what you want because you won't be blocking yourself. Because worthiness is usually the biggest block.
Yeah.
Most things. I don't
Mhm.
feel worthy. You're not saying this consciously, but like deep down, subconsciously, you don't feel worthy of a partner that really loves you and takes care of you and sees you and hears you. Or deep down you don't really feel worthy of money, or you don't really feel worthy of a freedom lifestyle, or you don't really feel worthy to be happy, right? And so it's like about that piece, the worthiness piece is like everything, because without feeling worthy we sabotage things,
Oh,
you know
yeah.
and I almost did this to my relationship because I had a lot of patterns that I didn't even realize were there, that were just like, you know, like some anxious attachment, some codependency, some like, I need you to validate me and love me and do this for me, and I need to change you and control you, and basically just made me push him away. But realize, and I was thinking like, oh, he's so closed off, and it proved me right, which was like, see, he doesn't love me. See, he doesn't want to be with me. But the truth is
Mhm.
I created that from
Mhm.
trying to control him, trying to change him, being super fucking clingy. And then I realized, whoa, that's the work for me to do. And so the past few years have been me really coming into my own worth and being in my feminine energy and my like wholeness and completeness and knowing like I deserve this. Fuck yeah, I
Yes.
deserve this. And
Yeah.
like our relationship's better than ever. It's the same with business. It's like when we feel worthy and complete and whole and deserving of money, we're not desperately grasping at it because we're not making money mean love. We're just, money is money,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, oh wow, like holy shit. So like it's like untangling all of these like wild dynamics that live under the surface of like what it means to be human, and reinstalling like the new software and just being like, oh, this is what it's like. I'm whole and worthy and complete. And if I want to make a lot of money, that means I need to give a lot of value and help people and be in service. It's like that's really what money is. And
Yeah.
love is just love. You don't have to do anything to deserve love. You just deserve it. So
Mhm.
just be yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. No, as you were talking, I was thinking so deeply about my journey and how it's evolved. Gosh, I mean, since I really fell into the self development, which was 2017, I want to say, or
Mhm.
2018. It really started for me with the end of a really long-term relationship, but ever since then it was just steps being taken, maintaining the open mind, the curiosity to want to know myself deeper. And I would say the two biggest things, as for me, and you mentioned them, you were talking about intimate relationship, definitely, but then also business. It's like intimate relationships and business are like those two freaking mirrors for you. Like no no things in this world that really reflect back to you areas where you need to up level, or where you need to work deeper on yourself and cultivate more of that self-love and acceptance. And the worthiness piece, I mean, that was for sure my biggest thing. The cocktail that you that you listed, I was there too, for sure. I was drunk off the cocktail for like
We were fucking getting
90
this white girl wasted off this
white
cocktail.
girl wasted off the cocktail for a very good portion of my life. And I'm tapering, I've been tapering off, but the patterns, the patterns will creep up here and there, but it's maintaining the consciousness to not let them take over and have the power. But yeah, no, I mean, to everything you shared, 100%. And it's just beautiful to, again, knowing your journey and what you've navigated to be here now. I think it's so expansive for anyone listening too, that might be in a rut or thinking like, oh my gosh, I can't see beyond this.
Yeah,
There's always a way. I think curiosity may be the common thread there, is just staying open, and the
totally.
openness with the willingness to continue to work on yourself, because that's always going to get you to the next step.
100%, 100%. Like, I could have, like you said at the very beginning, I could have never imagined that this would be my life, right? Also, we're
Mm.
traveling in our van, traveling the US,
Yes.
running my business on the road, which is a huge piece for me because that was always a dream. Um, but I never imagined this 5 years ago because
Hmm.
I didn't have, like, the mind can only imagine what we've already seen and experienced, right? So
Mm.
I hadn't yet created this life, so I didn't have a vision for it. So I think that's where people get hung up, is they don't know what they want. They're like, I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want. But you don't have to know that. All you have to know is, what are you curious about, number one, but like, what's the next thing? Like, so many people want the whole fucking staircase, and the staircase is never going to be revealed. You're never going to know. You just have to do the next thing. And
Mm.
that can be insanely frustrating for people that are control freaks. Um, because it's like, but I want to know if it's going to be worth it to go down that path. And it's like,
Yes.
well, are you going to stay up at night thinking this to yourself? Like, how worth it is that? Just
Hmm.
try the step. It's not like, is it really that much work? Like, the first step. I'm not talking about like building a whole business. I'm saying, like, take the first step, whatever that is, because that's how my business was built. I didn't set out to be like, I'm going to create a 7-figure business.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I didn't even realize we were approaching that until like a few months ago, where I was like, oh, and I did some math, you know?
What a pleasant surprise.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, wow. Like, just trusting the next step, taking the next step. It's just
Hmm.
about the next step and not needing to know the full picture. Because, to be quite frank, if we knew the full staircase, it would be quite overwhelming. That's
Mm.
why people don't start most big ass projects, because it's overwhelming. They know too much. So it's like, isn't it better that there's curiosity and like magic can happen and like things beyond your wildest dreams? Like, why do you want to know the ending to the movie before it's even started? Like,
Mm.
that would fucking ruin the movie. Like,
Yeah.
let it play out scene by scene.
Yeah, yeah, no, I think trusting the unknown is maybe the theme there. And thank you for sharing that, Sam, because I feel like I almost needed that as a reminder as I'm thinking ahead and dreaming into, the rest of the year and all my plans and vision. There is this franticness in a way, being, the controlling tendencies are coming out. Like, I just need to know what this looks like. But to everything you share, it's just taking the next step. It's little by
Mhm.
little, and the path is going to continue to unfold. Just like, I think I shared like a reel a couple weeks ago on like my business journey, like how I got to starting my studio. And when I look back, I could have never seen this happening, but it was always just taking the next step and having it unfold organically in the way that it was meant to.
Yeah.
And it's going to continue doing that. But yeah, trusting the unknown, as you were saying that, I was like, yes, that is like the
Mhm.
theme.
Dude, that's
Yeah,
the juice.
that is the juice. We need to get that tattooed somewhere on our bodies, or I do at least, as a reminder. I want to ask you about conscious creators now. To
Yeah.
pivot, well, I don't even want to say pivot because we're diving deeper a little bit, but conscious creators, is the vehicle for which we got to working together, with my branding design expertise and supporting you. And it was such a beautiful symbiotic interaction that we had, where you were supporting me with coaching and I was supporting you in a way with my design help to help bring conscious creators to life. And so I want to talk a little bit about what conscious creators is, and then dive into what the vision, like how the process of like how the vision was even downloaded to you for that. So tell us, like, what is conscious creators and how did the idea for you originally emerge and come to be?
Yeah. So, um, I I have been somebody who has never felt like they fit in, you know? And this is very common for people with ADHD. It's very common for people that are empaths or highly sensitive. Anyone who maybe is like more connected to energy, let's say. Like there's a distinct feeling of safety when you find somebody like you that's like, "Oh my god, like you get it. You get
Mm,
me, right? Like I belong here." And so after joining a good amount of groups and masterminds and all of this, like I feel like I felt like, wow, I belong here, you know? And I had never experienced that. Growing up, all my friends, I loved them to death. I just never felt this deep sense of belonging, no
mm,
matter how close I got. It always felt like there was something there. And it was my own belief that I don't belong, right? And like this has changed a lot because I've really have feel like I've found my people, but it took me 30 something years to find my people. And some people this takes them 60 years, 70 years. Like it's never too late, but I know for me, I knew that I wanted my business to be very community oriented because like I first of all, I built an incredibly amazing community and following, and I was like, I want to be able to reach and help and support and be around as many people as possible. I've always been like, let's have the biggest fucking party. Like the more the
yes.
merrier, right? Like that's always been my vibe of like there's going to be so many dope humans in this group, like let's get a bigger pool of humans to see all the cool humans. Always been fascinated with people. Like I just love people. And so the idea was born. I had the download for it. I was on a plane coming home from California, I think, and literally the words conscious creators like dropped into my brain. And I
Mm,
was like, the fuck is that? Like it felt like someone whispered it in my ear, you know? And I was like, okay. So I just like jotted it down. And at the time, I was kind of like masterminding with two of my girlfriends that I had met in a previous business mastermind. And I was like, guys, I have this idea. And I was like, I just got this like download and I feel like it needs to be like a membership thing. And, you know, just like going off. And I almost split the idea in three with these other two women.
mm.
And we had weekly meetings about it. We started creating like the structure and the framework and all this
Oh, I
shit.
didn't know this.
Yeah,
This is
I
interesting.
haven't really shared the story, not for any
Yeah,
reason. It's just like I forgot
that's
about it to be
interesting.
honest.
Yeah.
And and then like I had this like knowing like no, Sam, this is not a joint project with them specifically. It might be a joint venture with someone or some people at a certain point, but it's not like you need to share this vision with three people. It's like you're the leader of this and you have all these, you're probably going to have all these like supporting people, but like you're leading it and you don't give away the power of this to other people because you feel like you can't handle it. And I was just
Hmm.
like, ugh. So I was like, okay, fine. So I had to just basically tell them like, all right, guys, like actually, I'm gonna just take this idea, and they were like, okay, like they were cool with it. But so I didn't really know what I even wanted it to be. Conscious creators in itself, the words, right? Conscious is like wake up, like you're awake, you're not living on autopilot, you're alive, right? You're choosing, you're making a
Hmm.
conscious choice. And then creators, I mean, I've been a creator my whole life. We are always creating, right? Always manifesting, never not creating, right? And
Yeah.
um it's like it was just so perfect. I couldn't have even thought of a better I couldn't have I couldn't have thought of this better myself, so I was so like, "I love this name." And so I just started brainstorming what it could be, and then, I was like I was working with my last business mentor at the time, and I was like, "I feel like I just need to birth this thing into the fucking world. I don't even fully know what it's gonna be. It's gonna be a low-cost membership. I just want as many awesome humans in it. Like that's literally the only goal. Um, and for community, for connection, and also like teaching things about mindset and manifestation and spirituality and creating a life and business on your terms and whatever. And because memberships, I've been in a lot of memberships. I remember we shared our common love for TBM, that
Yeah.
membership, and I love them. I think they're super powerful and I just love meeting people. So I was like, I want to create this for my community. So in 2021, it was born and um, we launched it in, we officially launched it in January of 2022. So it's like about a year and a half old.
Hmm.
Um, and I've gone back and forth in my minds with what I want it to be. I've changed the price point a million times. I'm like, ooh, but I feel like I finally landed in what it really is supposed to be because the vision for me is like literally thousands of people on a Zoom screen. Like
Mm.
I just see, and then in person events, of course. But I just see like so many people coming together to do this type of work and to connect. And like it definitely is scary for me because I'm like, oh, like it really requires me being seen in my power in leadership and my teachings and everything I've learned in the past like 8 years. Um, but it feels so correct. Like I'm like,
Mhm.
yes, I am such a fan of close proximity mentorship and masterminds. And I love accessibility also. And I
Yeah.
think there should be a place where anyone can come, $22 a month, anyone can come, and be part of something that actually they feel like they belong there. Like
Mhm.
there's this feeling of, wow, these are my people. They're creative, they're adventurous, they're creating life on their terms, they're a little wild, they're a little eclectic and multi-passionate, and it's like this is the group of friends I wish I had, and now I have them, and it's like
Yeah.
this group is just going to keep getting bigger and more powerful, and we're going to have live events, more live events. We have retreats, but we're going to have live events, and like I really see it being a movement. It's not like, oh, it's like a cute membership, like come for, it's like, no, like
No, it's
we're
bigger.
we're living this reality of you're making a decision, you're consciously choosing every thought you tell yourself, every action you take. Is this conscious? Right. And like waking up to the fucking truth, waking up to your own power. Like the tagline at the top is wake the fuck up. Like I
Yeah.
literally changed it. I'm like, this is so accurate. I'm like,
I
guys,
love it.
wake up to your potentiality, to the possibilities, to magic, to your dream life. Like it's not that far away. You just have to like be in the conversations with people who are empowering you and supporting you and get it, that are
Yeah.
like on that growth path.
Yeah, no, it's been so beautiful to watch it just like grow and blossom, Sam, from because I mean, I don't think we connected on the early kind of stages when you were birthing the idea. I remember just finding out about it after you had, I think, already set the bones in place. But when we connected, it was kind of like a let's ramp this up, let's hone in, and let's figure out more of the details. What do the visuals look like? What are the values? What exactly like does the container kind of more so feel like and all that? And it's so expansive to hear you dream into this next level and bigger version. And to something you said about the fear about like, okay, like this is forcing you to really step into your full leadership and autonomy. I think similar to what we were talking about at the beginning, it's like there always needs to be that little piece of fear to like allow for that growth. And whew, I mean, I know just from you personally being in the container, knowing you, Sam, it's like I can't see a more perfect platform for you to just like grow into. And I'm so excited to watch the expansion for this.
Me too. Thank you. Like it feels like It really truly does. When I think about like my 80-year-old self, I
Mm.
swear I'm still running this.
Yeah.
Like, I have goosebumps as
Oh,
I
I
say
love
it.
that.
It's like,
I'm picturing Granny Sam.
yeah, like, I'm like, "Guys, I am still gonna be this, like, energetic, passionate
Mm.
person who is showing you and, like, leading you," you know? And it's like, I think about people like, Louise Hay or Abraham Hicks or all
Yeah.
these, like, spiritual, teachers who do their life's work basically till they die, right? Like, there's
Mhm.
no reason to stop because why would you, you know? And I told Kurt, I'm like, "There's no chance in hell I will ever retire. I will be working till I die because it's not work. It's like
Yeah.
mission, you know?"
Yes.
And I'm like, what I was just, like, doing the, like, math of, like, what if we had 1,000 members in it? What if we had 5,000 members? What if we had 10,000? Like, it just got me, like, thinking so much bigger and, like, like, stretching my time horizon of business to actually care less about the monthly revenue. Like, yes, of course, that matters, and, like, I wanna build a profitable business. But I'm really stretching the vision of what I'm building over 50 years, not
Mm.
like the next 2, you
Yeah.
know? And it's like it's why I changed the price point to be so easy, and I changed everything to be like, no, it's not even a commitment. It's I just have so much trust in the space that's created in there. If people wanna
Mm.
leave, of course they can leave. If they come in and they're like, "Yo, this is, like, not it." But it's like just making it so easy for people to say yes and show up and feel like, wow, holy shit, this is like my me time because most women, especially, are just giving so much to everyone else. And it's like, come here and like fill up your fucking cup and like be nourished and like take a deep breath, like relax. Cause I don't remember the last time you relaxed, and I'm sure you don't either, like come relax with us, you know?
Yeah. No, I love what you're sharing, Sam, and I think the biggest piece for me, and this is something that I'm constantly trying to come back to, is rooting into purpose.
Mm,
Because you were even saying, like, money aside, what's the deeper purpose here? And so it's really expansive for me personally, and hopefully for people listening too, to know that if your vision on the thing is so strong, that's where the magic is going to happen.
mm,
And like money's a nice to have, all the other things are nice to have. But to me, and I mean, I hope to everyone listening, it's so clear that you are so rooted in that purpose.
yeah.
And it also sounds to me like that was it from the very start. Like when you got the download, you knew that there was something bigger because hearing you talk about like this isn't 2 years, this is 50 years. This is me going to be doing this when I'm like 80 years old. Like this isn't just like a, like a passion project. This is something that is bigger than you.
Mhm. Yeah, 100%. I think there's a lot of and I got caught up in this. There's a lot of entrepreneurs just playing the short game
Yeah.
and trying to make the most money in the shortest amount of time, and I think my own mentor, who I'm so grateful for, she also has a very, very, very big time horizon, and it's part of the reason why I'm working with her. Um, like, she's helped me see, like, the big vision. Like,
Mm,
let's play like, you're playing the long game. Like, entrepreneurship is not about the short game. You play the short game, you hit it, you can't sustain it. You hit it, it doesn't create anything meaningful. You have to play the long game. And, like, I am such an entrepreneur, not even like, I didn't even want to be. Like, it's just I can't work for anyone else. Like, for fuck's sake, I cannot be told what to do. I just cannot, you know?
mhm,
And I'm like, this is oh. I always had this internal knowing. Like, I would see my friends. I have a really good friend who's also a coach, and um, she had like $100,000 launch, and like she had all this crazy stuff, and it's like, yeah, sure, like we could do that literally right now. It's just not the goal. Like, the
mhm.
goal for me is like the big vision. And so that does mean I have to delay some of my dopamine chasing immediate gratification because what I'm doing is building long, which means it's slower. It's
Yeah.
slower growth. But, when I turn 40, when I turn 50, I'm gonna have something I'm proud of. And I think this has been the biggest lesson in all of entrepreneurship is what are you actually building? Because
Mm.
for the first few years, I was making the money and doing the things, and it was great, right? Like, I just wasn't clearly rooted to a why. That
Yeah.
wasn't I wasn't clearly rooted to purpose. I wasn't clearly rooted to what is my mission? I feel so dialed in to the mission. It feels like my feet are fucking on the earth and I'm like, I know what I'm building. It's
Mm.
very evident to me.
Yeah.
And my goal or my like what feels best for me is like sustainability, you know?
Mhm.
Like I don't want to be running a disastrous empire in the back end of everything. Like, no. I want to build something sustainable. It's like health, you know? It's like
Yeah.
getting into shape. Sure, you can diet. You can do those types of things. You can take pills, you can drink the fucking teas, you can shit your brains out. But guess what? You eat a carb and then you blow back up. And it's like
Mhm.
most people, myself included, just weren't willing to be patient. And patience has been, oh my God, I feel like my biggest lesson in
Oh,
like
man.
be
Yes.
patience.
Mhm.
You're building something meaningful. It takes time. Don't rush this because you will regret it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, the word patience came to me as you were speaking, so to hear you say it, I'm like, "Yes, it sounds and feels like that
Oh,
so much."
it's like,
So much. And for someone who likes to control and wanna always know what the next thing is, and you were saying earlier, it's like as women, like, we want more, more, more. We wanna get to that thing, like, ASAP. That word. I know for me personally, in the last year, patience has been tested a lot in tandem with the trust and kind of just waiting, really truly holding true to that, to know that things are on their timeline. They're going to unfold exactly as they're meant to, but so long as we are planted in that purpose. I actually wanted to ask you as part of my last two kind of closing questions that I like to wrap up with
yeah.
is what is your meaning of purpose? What does purpose mean to you? You kind of already were speaking to it, but if you could describe maybe more tangibly in a way, if we want to use that word, like what is purpose mean to you?
Mm. The easiest way I know how to describe it, it's like why I get out of bed in the morning. Like
Mm, yeah.
it's it's like before I found this, I was incredibly depressed and unhappy and felt lost. And it's like having this like truly does give me something to pour all of my energy and creativity and all of that into while making an impact and knowing like, damn, this is fucking awesome, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like my drug of choice. Like purpose is like definitely the drug. Like as
Mhm.
wild as that is, like I even if I take off like I don't know, a few days from coaching or chatting with clients, I immediately notice my energy shift. It's
Mm,
so weird. I'm like,
wow.
"Whoa." Like when I'm not plugged into it, I notice I notice lower energy. And so my business gives me energy. It
Mm,
doesn't drain me. And so, like, obviously, when you're living in alignment with your mission and all of that, like, it is going to give you energy. You're going to have endless amounts of energy because you're flowing with it, right? You're not like
yeah.
forcing things. So, yeah, it does feel like life force energy, like getting me out of bed, like my reason for existing, which feels really nice because
Mhm.
like, a lot of people don't have that,
Yeah.
and but this is possible for everyone. It's like everyone has a purpose, and it's not something you go find outside of you either. It's like, what really brings you joy? What's your zone of genius? Like, what could you just picture yourself doing? What are you already doing? But you might as well just get paid for it. For me, it was just giving people advice, giving
Yeah.
people a new perspective, showing people that they can do it. I was doing that since I've been 10 years old, even earlier. This is like what I came out of the womb encouraging people. Like,
Yeah.
so it's like, oh, now I'm just getting compensated for it.
Yeah, oh, it's so beautiful and so expansive, Sam. You've always been such an expander for me, and to hear the the alignment that you have with the work that you're doing is, again, just so motivating and inspiring. And hopefully for anyone listening to, they could sense the love and the energy coming from Sam around this, because it's truly so, so beautiful. Okay, my last question, which is a little bit of a wild card, but because the show is called Homecomings and it's really about bringing people back home to themselves. As you know, I love the word and meaning of home is like a metaphor for all of my work that I do in my brand. So I want to know, what is your most favorite memory of home?
Oh, I love this question. Oh, oof. Oh my gosh, there's like so many. They all revolve like everything that's coming to mind. I have like a flood of memories, but like the camera roll is like all around like nature and sitting on my parents' like back deck. Like they have like a wraparound
Mm,
porch. And we have like a pool and like a beautiful, like they have like a really awesome like landscaped yard and a bunch of trees. And I feel like just like being on that porch, there was so much like fun and memories and sunshine, and it's just like the simple things of life, like,
yeah.
and I'm like, that's like all I want, like
Mm,
that just feels amazing, like just sitting on a porch, like getting
yeah.
sun hitting your skin, like, so yeah, I that to me feels like home. And I have to also say my mom has these amazing candles that she has a boutique and she sells them, and she always has a candle lit in the house. So when I open the door to the house, I get hit in the face with like, it smells like a Cinnabon shop
Oh.
in my mom's house. It's like a cinnamon like waffle candle, and I'm like, "Oh my god." So it's like this like warm buttery cinnamonness
Oh,
paired
I
with
love that.
the sunshine porch.
Yes, when you said Cinnabon, I was thinking of IKEA.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
a
yeah.
portion of that. The
Yes.
best part of the store.
Yeah, like, just get me to the food.
Yes. Oh, that's so amazing. No, I thank you for sharing, Sam. And I think what's beautiful about the memories that you shared is how much the senses are involved. It's like you're describing sitting on the porch and the sun shining and then walking into your mom's house with the smell. I think whenever we can engage the senses, it just always lends itself to a more rich experience. So to know that those are
Mm.
your associations of home and things that bring you comfort and warmth, I love. I love so much. Oh,
I love
thank
you.
you. Oh, I love you too, Sam. The feeling is so mutual. Thank you so much for coming on. Tell people where they can find you, how they can work with you, what you offer to like conscious creators is freaking amazing. And who's it for? Like, how can people find it and get in?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, you guys can definitely come join. It's like I said, it's $22 a month. Come at any time, leave at any time, but like come sooner rather than later because like it's the best place ever. Uh,
Yes,
but
it
it's
really
it's
is.
really for anyone who's creating anything. Like it's for aspiring and current entrepreneurs, business owners, artists, creatives, tattoo people, like designers. I mean, we have such an eclectic group. It's beautiful. Coaches, I mean, photographers. Like I'm just like thinking of all the people inside right now. Such an awesome group. You just want to be inspired and be surrounded by like-minded people. Um, and then yeah, I have my mastermind, which is like my higher kind of like closer proximity space. It's a more intimate space, and we do a lot of business strategy, but like from your feminine energy. So alignment, using intuition. Like it's not like, icky, gross, cold DM sales. It's like, no, like seeing business as your art, and making sales be about building relationships. And, I teach all about like social media, marketing, everything I've done to build my business to almost a million. And yeah, and then one-on-one mentorship. And that's for really the woman who's already has a business, already has a successful business, who like wants to go deeper in embodiment, empowerment, relationships. We talk a lot about relationships in the mastermind as well. So yeah, it's really a space for like all of you. But yeah, everything's on my website, www.balancewithsam.com, or yeah, find me on Instagram. I'm my podcast. I love being over there
Yes.
too.
Yes.
Um,
Your pod is
yeah,
so good.
so come and hang out on any of those places. Would love to have you come. Yeah, drop into my DMs and say hi.
Hi again, it's me. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully, you were able to garner some takeaways and nuggets for your personal home journey. If you enjoyed this episode, it would mean the world if you left a rating and review. And if you'd like to connect deeper, find me at Studio Dumpka on Instagram, where I share content on all things home, of course. Sending a big, cozy, homey hug your way, friends. Till next time.